welcome back to Gay by Gay.
Hello.
So, kind of rolling along because this unintentionally turned into a themed week when it wasn't supposed to be, but what do you expect? When we get on a topic, we rant, especially now that our moderator's not here.
Yeah. Aliyah likes to scream about religions 2.0. Yes.
2.0, 3.0. I don't know what episode this is anymore.
No. Yeah.
We're talking about Mormonism today.
Yes, the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints.
I will be honest, I have even less knowledge of Mormonism than I have, I almost said Judaism again. What is wrong with me?
You're just thinking about the Jewish people.
Judas. And we're going to stop there before we get copyrighted. I know less about Mormonism than I know about Jehovah's Witness.
Well, I
already know very little about Jehovah's Witness.
I think you know more about the musical, The Book of Mormon, than actual Mormonism.
Yes.
Oh my gosh. I'm going to open this up by saying, did you know that Mormons, I've heard that they believe that when you die, you get your own planet?
Guys, I'm becoming Mormon. I want my own planet. I want my own planet. Are you kidding me?
Oh my
I want a planet. Who doesn't want a planet?
There's two instances in my life where I was almost Mormon.
No.
So when
I knew that you would kind of dived into religion, but that to me, you started reading the Bible and everything else, and I kind of took that as signals that you were trying to repress your homosexuality.
Oh, of course.
And I was just kind of like, she'll figure it out eventually.
That's a different topic.
She's going into religion, but what she actually needs to dive farther into is her love of vagina.
Well, when you're gay and you're taught not to be gay, you tend to you either gravitate towards everything that's gay as all hell, or you gravitate towards everything that will teach you not to be.
Exactly. Either you follow that path of repressing it, or you're just like, screw it, screw everything I've ever known. Mm-hmm. We're jumping into this with both feet.
So when I was 12 or 13, I was really into religion, just regular Christianity. I was more into I wasn't into the mega church kind of stuff, but I was into the modesty and
if I said polite Sunday school girl,
the girl defined. I was working at the nursery at my local church.
Sweet, very very homey type, very motherly type, very you would want her as your good wife.
I'm cringing so hard right now. That's so not me now. But I started looking towards Mormonism. I was looking into it, and I would read the handbooks, the young ladies' handbooks on their website. I would dive deep into it, watch a few Mormon YouTubers. I was like, do you remember Cute Girls Hairstyles? Brooklyn and Bailey? No? You weren't a YouTube kid. They were really
You make that
famous.
sound like I'm 40 years old and didn't get YouTube until after the age of dial-up. That is not the way that worked. It's not that YouTube wasn't a big thing. It's that the stuff on YouTube was more silly stuff at that point.
True.
It wasn't, YouTube at that point wasn't seen as being this giant platform for creators. It was seen as just a silly way to post stupid videos on the internet. At that point, people weren't making money from it and everything else.
A lot of YouTubers I watched, a lot of the big family YouTubers, and Lord knows I wanted a big family. Oh my God.
You wanted to be 19 kids and counting. You were just me and my Dalmatian plantation of kids. Your 101, instead of Dalmatians, you were just going to have 101 kids.
Well, when you're deep into it, that's what you believe your purpose is, have a bunch of kids. But,
you believe that your purpose was just to pop babies out?
Yes. Serve your husband, pop babies out. That's it.
Terrible.
Yes, I agree.
No wonder you ended up in an abusive relationship.
Yes, I agree.
God damn.
But, okay, I didn't
get it. God damn, because bad religion.
I didn't want to be Mormon. I was looking into it. I was discovering if it was for me or if there was things I agreed with.
I feel like you could write a book about that. Discovering Mormonism. Discovering Mormonism.
But then what I was I don't want that, is the concept of temple weddings.
Temple weddings. So not getting married in a church, getting married in a temple.
Mormons have temples. They have
Do we have temples? Do we have a temple in our city?
Yes. It got built. It just finished getting built.
Is it a regular building, or does it actually look like a temple?
Oh, it's big. It's big guy.
It's big guy?
It's big guy. It's big guy.
Big brain, deep thinky?
Yes!
It's big guy. It's big brain, deep thinky, big guy.
Can we call God that?
Big brain, deep thinky.
Big brain, deep thinky guy. Big guy.
Big guy. The big guy upstairs.
Big brain guy.
The big brain guy.
Okay, anyways. I know this because I have a couple of Mormon friends on Facebook. I'll go into that later.
Oh boy.
So yeah, I couldn't get behind the concept of temple weddings. Temple weddings is only people who are Mormon and are sealed by the Mormon temple can watch your wedding, can watch you get married. You don't get married in a wedding dress.
So if your sister decides that she doesn't want to be Mormon,
she can't go.
She can't go to your
wedding. She can't go. Yeah, for sure.
Oh.
You have to wear.
If there's any one thing that I've learned about religions that become culty in nature, it's that exclusion of everyone from the outside.
Yeah, you have to
it's
wear.
That only us.
You have to wear temple underwear.
What does that mean?
It's like white undergarments. Oh, it's crazy.
So we're just talking like if you're like full on purity trained sort of. Oh, she's showing me. Oh my god.
Yeah, they're undergarments. That's what you get married in. It's spooky.
Wait, is that the only thing you wear, or do you wear clothes over them?
I actually don't know. That's just the underwear thing just got me.
It looks like the world's ugliest pair of long underwear, to be fair.
Lordy, I could not do it.
I think I wore those when I was horseback riding in the winter.
You gotta keep warm.
You gotta wear those long underwear, my dude.
You gotta keep the impurity out. So,
well, my goal was to keep the cold out. Their goal is to keep the sin out, I guess.
Yeah. So just between the really harsh beliefs and stuff, and they do kind of train you to have that cult personality too. They want you, especially if you're a missionary. I was obsessed with
when you say
Mormon
missionary,
missionaries.
like my brain immediately went to
I was obsessed with Mormon missionaries. I had.
Makes it sound like you were obsessed with missionary.
No.
So you don't like missionary?
I don't want to talk about it.
We'll save your kinks for another episode. It's fine.
I had songs from, so I guess Mormon youth, the LDS Muse. The LDS,
is that a new Pokemon, Muse?
No. The LDS youth have their own little band and they make little religious songs. And I had a lot of those songs. A lot of those songs slap. They're good.
They slap. Do they punch as well? Do they kick?
No,
do they drop the bass? Yo?
It's a young expression, Abby.
It's a young expression.
It's a young expression. Fuck. I had a couple of their songs on my playlist. I knew, what is this called? There's this movie, it's called The Errand of Angels. I used to watch it. It's a movie about missionaries. It's pretty good.
Every time you say that word, I start laughing. I'm so immature.
I'll play that song for you, because it's like, the errand of angels is given to women. Na-na-na-na. Oh my god, if you know what I'm talking about, you're going insane right now. But
they're all like singing along. They're like, oh my god.
Because missionaries are like, they're not the highest of the high. They're doing God's work. They're the best people. They're sacrificing everything for their religion because missionaries they get assigned a place and they get sent to the place.
I was going to say believe it or not, they weren't Mormon. I knew a couple of Christian missionaries though who went off to different countries and everything to spread the gospel.
Missionary work is a whole other thing I have beef with, but
what don't you have beef with when it comes to religion?
You see, I am allowed to have beef with it because I was almost this. I mean,
to be fair, you do have a point because you were kind of like more on the inside of it, so I guess that does kind of make sense.
But missionaries, I
thought you said bitchinaries, and I was like, is that their new nickname, bitchinaries?
No, I'm not mad at them because
ultimately they're just trying to spread the word of their belief.
When you grow up thinking...
I think it's almost always the people in charge of these actual things. It's not the people who are suckered into believing it and are brainwashed into believing it. They really they're trying to be good people and they're trying to spread the good word to other good people.
Here's the thing. They're taught that they're doing the best thing in the world and they're sacrificing so much. I would hate to find out that I left my family for, I think it's 2 years. I think the missionary timeline is 2 years. For 2 years, put my life on hold to do this and find out that it really meant nothing. Like that would be soul crushing.
I think the hard part with something like that is it's very much what it means is on an individual level. Yeah. Only you can determine whether or not something like that is quote unquote worth it,
Yeah, and I hate...
No one can tell you whether or not the time you sacrificed was for the greater good or not.
And they're taught to not really show emotion. Every photo you see of a Mormon missionary, they're smiling ear to ear because that's what they're trained to do. You're supposed to
love life and love God and just love.
You're supposed to play off this perfect lifestyle that, like, hey, I'm a missionary and I'm so happy to do this.
How else are they going to get people to get sucked into it? You know, they have to. Religion is like any sort of brand of anything. We kind of made a reference in our Jehovah's Witness episode to like
brand of religion,
like cereal boxes on the store shelf. But I very much feel like that's kind of what religion is, where everyone kind of wants to have the flashiest colors and be the most noticeable, and you know, they want to grab your attention because they want you to buy their brand of Fruit Loops.
Hey, Abby.
Yeah.
What's the difference between an advertisement and Mormonism?
Oh no, this is a bad dad joke, isn't it?
Nothing, because they both try to sell you shit.
Okay, I need to recover because I think I'm having a brain aneurysm because of how terrible that joke was. We're gonna let you guys listen to our sponsorship segment, and we'll be back as soon as my brain stops bleeding.
See you soon. Welcome back.
I'm still trying to recover. That break was not long enough to actually recover from that stupid joke. That was awful.
Anyways,
stop laughing about it. It wasn't even that funny.
I feel really bad for the missionaries that have to come to our city because our city is not nice.
Our city is trash.
Our city is trash. And I mean,
ultimately, you and I both want to move to New York at some point. And I'll be honest, I've been to New York. New York is also trash.
Yeah.
Anyone that lives in New York will tell you that it's trash, but it's a very different kind of trash.
It's a different kind of trash.
This kind of trash is like Gotham City trash. I think I've mentioned this before. Like, literally, we are Gotham City. We are run by crooks and swindlers, and crime runs rampant, and everyone is just out to beat everyone else. It's dark. It's dingy. It's terrible. Oh, look, I'm ranting about how much I hate where I live. See, Charlie's not here to stop me. What am I going to do?
I would hate for a missionary to come from Utah or anywhere else.
I would hate for any missionary to come from anywhere. I would hate for any person to come from anywhere and come to the city that we live in, because I feel like they would run away screaming and crying.
You know, I fortunately have never been a missionary, but I
don't know why you said it like that.
What I feel like is like they're at home, their churches, their families, their entire social circles are pumping them up. They're like, you're going to do great, you're going to do amazing things, you're doing the work of God, and then they're sent here and everyone hates you.
Everyone is so mean, everyone is nasty. You probably get your wallet stolen on the bus. Yeah.
Let's start this story. During quarantine period, a year ago.
Don't even get me started on how long this lockdown has been, because I would rather just off myself.
I was in a random Bible study group on Facebook.
Why?
I got bored.
Why?
Wanted to see what it was like.
There are so many other things to do with your time, my dude.
And there's like 87.
You're gay. What were you doing?
This was before I came out.
Oh. Yeah. It was in your transitioning period. Okay, that makes more sense.
I'm not... Yep, sure. But there was a lot
I don't like the way you said that.
There was a lot of Mormons in there, and I guess one from our city had, messaged me and was like, "Hey, do you want to do a Bible study together? I saw we were in the same group. You're from my city, and I'm so lonely at this point that I'm like, sure."
It's been desperate for friends.
Well,
desperate for friends.
Here's the thing for me. I'd say I'm a pretty personable person.
You're an extrovert,
yeah. When I was in church, I went to a pretty slimy church in the way that it was.
You know that it's a Vine. That Vine where they're like, "Welcome to our church," and like there's kids like snorting drugs and everything else.
Oh yes, that's what it was like.
That's what it was like.
Yeah, it was a pretty grungy church, and I was like,
"Kumbaya, my lord."
Yep, I was like one of the golden children there because I said the word Jesus once. Like the standards were so low. I was like a golden child. I could like sit there and talk about the actual lessons of the sermon, and while the other kids were like, I'm over this. Stop talking. Like literally.
Oh.
I was the person at church camp who woke all of my friends up at the morning service because I was still awake.
Oh. No.
So I was good at this little Bible study thing that
you seem to be good at it because you were able to actually pay attention.
This Mormon person did, this missionary. What a fault I found in the missionary work was that, because I was analyzing it, because this was just kind of fun for me.
I was going to say, you're like taking the psychological chair here, and you're just kind of watching everyone.
The amount of, reality that is around them, they don't really perceive it that well. Because
if I make an obscure gaming reference, I feel like it's not even that obscure. You might get it, like BioShock. Have you ever played?
Nope.
Well, I'll hear. Anyone out there, I feel like what she's describing, maybe you can confirm or deny, it's kind of like BioShock, because the idea here is that they kind of like brainwash these little girls, and at one point through the gameplay, you kind of get to switch and you see what they see. And instead of seeing like this dilapidated city, they see everything is beautiful, and like all the people look like they have angel wings, and there's like rainbows everywhere. Like it looks happy, even though it's like dirty and grungy in reality.
Well,
like they just see things differently.
They assume right off the bat that you are raised very conservatively. Like they were.
Oh, they just kind of assume it.
Their worldview.
Instead of like reality, where I always just assume that everyone is straight trash until they prove to me otherwise.
Yeah. So I remember I had done a few Bible studies with this nice girl. And then she was like, oh, my partner, because missionaries grow out in pairs. And they were like, my partner and I, we just want to like do one together with you. I'd love to get her in on this.
You know, if anyone were to take this audio out of context, you say, my partner and I want to do this with you. So it sounds like you're proposing something very indecent, especially because you keep talking about missionaries.
Stop.
My partner and I want a missionary with you.
Stop. So I get added to this group chat with these two nice girls. They're nice. They're very nice.
Of course they were nice. You were a lesbian.
They didn't know that. It was a secret.
But you knew.
It was a secret. But
you were the secret lesbian in hiding.
We were doing Bible studies, and some of the sections, they were respectful in this way, where they would do the study sections would be from the Bible itself. They wouldn't do any sections from the Book of Mormon with me. They didn't ask if I was explicitly Mormon or not. They didn't ask if I was explicitly Christian or not either. Okay. But one of the nice little analogies that I thought, it all felt very scripted.
Well, I think it really very much is. Whenever you get something that's kind of relies on that type of brainwashing, there very much is a script that you kind of have to follow, unfortunately.
It was all over text, because they were always like, oh, do you want to do a video chat? Do you want to do a voice chat? And I was like, no. Because I like to read things and then feed them back what they want to hear.
Because you can kind of get that sense, whereas if they actually look at you in person, you don't have time to think of a proper response. Oh, yeah. You're just going to go with what you naturally think, and that's probably not what they want to hear.
Oh, of course not. But one of the things that really drove home to me how, not messed up, unrealistic their worldview is we live here in Gotham City. I'd say 4 out of 5 people have drank or done drugs or had problems with it.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. For sure. Even, I would say, unfortunately, a lot of minors struggle.
I don't know a lot of people who don't know someone who's died of a drug overdose. I'd say. I had a couple people I knew in high school that did.
I feel like even if you didn't know them personally, you probably knew someone in your school that either ended up going to the hospital because of it or something. Like, it's a major problem in our city.
So one of their talking points was like, oh, you want to listen to what God says and you want to obey the rules. And then she went on to say, yes, like how our parents when we're growing up teach us not to do drugs because drugs are bad. And I'm sitting there as someone who's done drugs in the past like, yup, that's what they taught me. And it's like,
I mean, to be fair, I think your parents did try to teach you, and I think you just didn't absorb that lesson necessarily.
That's true.
We'll talk about that in another episode.
But just the amount of assumption that everyone grows up the same way is kind of like me.
And yet, I feel like that actually makes a lot of sense to me because they really don't get much of a sense outside of their circle, you know what I mean? So they don't understand that different people from different backgrounds have different upbringings. Honestly, even for me, I grew up in a fairly, I would say our household was very agnostic. It was very, like, there was no push to go to church. There was no sort of anything. There was no set belief system. Realistically, it didn't dawn on me until I started teaching my dance lessons when I was, like, 16. That other kids grew up in other areas because there were some things that you guys would do during the dance lessons that I would be mortified about. And you guys would be like, this is just what we do. And I'm like, you just do that? Like, I was shocked. And I'm not even a religious person. So I can absolutely see where they're coming from. Just if they don't have experience, they're not going to think that anyone grows up any differently.
It was just so weird for me because I was someone who I didn't grow up very Christian. I grew up forcing myself to be very Christian, and I had
as a way of suppressing your
actual
identity.
Yeah, I had always looked up different means of evangelism, and the point is to make Christianity look as marketable as possible.
Well, ultimately, that's what they want. At the end of the day, they want more followers. They want more people. Because ultimately, their goal is to make one unified religion. Any religion, their ultimate goal is to make one unified religion.
Yeah. You gotta win souls for Christ.
Exactly. Sounds like you're playing a slot machine.
I know.
You gotta win souls for Christ.
I know. But even them doing that, it lit off a ding in my head. I was like, this is some bad evangelism right here.
Bad evangelism.
Because if I was an active drug user and they didn't know it, if I was an active alcohol drinker and they didn't know it, then they would have lost me.
Yeah, you would have been gone.
Because I would have felt judged.
And yet, once again, I see where they're coming from, where they would never expect anything different.
Anyways, I ended up ghosting them.
You just completely ghosted them? You didn't even say goodbye or anything?
Yeah, I just stopped talking to them. I was like, because we would set up different times. They started asking me to go to church with them. And at that point, I was like, they're not going to leave me alone after this. And this is getting too far.
They thought they had you, like, on their hook, and they were, like, reeling you in, and you were like,
And here's the thing. Sometimes I'm a horrible person. So I'm sitting there, and I'm like, well, these girls are nice, and they're saying all of these obviously rehearsed things.
So they're trying to pull you in?
I'm like, I want to know who these girls are. I want to ask them questions. I want to pick at their psyche. And then as soon as they invited me to church, I'm like, it's not worth the trouble.
Like, no,
I don't want to be friends with you that bad. You're going to hate me.
Push the red button, push the eject button, we're out of here.
Yeah.
We got to get out quick.
And that ends my...
Quick doobie scoo, we got to go. Zoinks.
So yeah, I ghosted them, and they leave me alone now because I think... one of them, the partner with the other girl, had gone back home because she was done her missionary service, and then the other one had moved to another city here to help out there.
Probably very thankful that she got out of Gotham.
Yes, probably very.
Both of them are probably very thankful to be gone. They were like, that hellscape, oh God.
So that ends my spur with Mormonism, my flirtations.
Oh, wow. Any of you out there, if you have any experience with Mormonism, whether you've been on the inside, whether you've known people on the inside, let us know. Join the conversation. Message us on our social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, all that jazz.
Yeah, email.
Check out our TikToks. Check out...
TikToks, yes.
TikToks, yes.
TikToks.
Check out our YouTube.
Yep.
We're posting a whole bunch of different videos. You can listen to the podcast on there. You can check out our vlogs.
See what we look like. Oh, no.
Please don't do that, Ashley. Please stay right here. Don't go anywhere. You can send us messages on here as well, wherever you're listening. We would love to talk to you. We would love to have a conversation. So that's it for this episode.
Thanks for listening.
We will talk at you in the next one.
Take it gay by gay, guys.
Bye.